Back, and we've had 2 practices since I talked to you guys, and excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, and they bounced back well. We've had 2 good practices, so that's a good sign. Focused and energy and attention to detail, so that's encouraging.
What can you say about Josh's status?
If he's ready to play, he'll play, and if he's not, he won't. That's my standard answer
Right.
on that. I think he's a competitive guy, and he wants to play, and we just have to make sure that we make the right decision, not only short term but long term for him.
How much input will you allow him to have in the decision of whether he plays?
Quite a bit. Not only Josh, but our medical team is outstanding, and his dad's a doctor. So we've got him kind of surrounded by people that understand what's going on, and I think though at the end of the day, you help him make the best decision for him, but you let him make that decision if it's safe. We're not going to let him make a decision that puts himself in further jeopardy.
How much was he able to participate in the last 2 days?
He's been out here both days. He's been out here both days.
Was he watching or fully participating?
He was out here both days. You can try.
I have to ask.
I know you do.
Would he?
I'm trying to be respectful of my answers. I'm not trying to be
exactly
smug. Right. He was out here both days.
So I know some coaches have like a policy: if you don't practice, you don't play. Do you have anything like that, or?
No, I don't. I think it's different in every situation. I think it can depend on the position you play, your level of experience. A lot of different variables go into that. So I don't have a firm policy with regards to that. I think you kind of paint yourself in a corner if you do that.
If Faithful is the guy, what's your confidence level on him?
Very high. When he's been in here in practice, he's done a nice job. It's always harder for a backup to go in a game during the game because he hasn't gotten as many reps. When a guy, you asked, has Josh been able to participate? Yes, he's been out here. Mike's gotten more reps than he typically would, and so I think that builds confidence going into a game.
Let's see.
Does any part of the offense kind of change, or do you pare down some stuff with the offense if Mike's in there?
Mike's been here a long time. He's very, very smart. He's experienced. He's kept himself mentally sharp, so we wouldn't have to pare anything down. Not for him. I think every week you look at what your problems are, and are you giving them too much or not enough? And so sometimes, you might pare it down a little bit just so you can focus on and emphasize more specifics.
What does it do for him that he did get that in-game experience? And have you seen a change this week in terms of the play?
Confidence. Even though it wasn't a beautiful performance in terms of numbers, just getting out under the lights in a tough situation against a defense that was coming after him, I think it gives him confidence. So the next time he goes out there, it's not the first time really this year, in a pressure situation. So I think it's always helpful. It's very similar to like Andre James going in and getting 33 plays against Arizona and then being ready to play last week against Arizona State. It just helps your psyche.
You went with Randall at corner last week. Was there a particular reason for that? And can you talk about what the impetus was there?
Nate got hurt in pregame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nate got hurt in pregame, and so he wasn't full speed, and we knew it was going to be a little bit of a track meet, and so Randall, once again showed his versatility. He practiced all week at safety, and really hadn't taken a single snap at corner. In 15 minutes before the game, when we realized Nate probably wasn't going to be full speed, we put Randall out there. So that's a credit to Randall, and not only that, but he played outstanding.
You still expect to have all the running backs back this week?
Yeah, expect everyone to be ready to go. All 5 of those guys, plus the fullbacks, so 7 backs.
I think there was the one package where you had Tack kind of at a blitzing linebacker plays. What can you say about how that package worked and how it came about?
Yeah, we ran that little package about probably five or six times, and I think we were effective 4 or 5. They completed 1 ball on us, I think. So it's just every week you're changing things up just a little bit to try to take advantage of maybe some protection or get a matchup that you want. So you're always searching for things like that. He was lined up as a linebacker, but technically he was a rusher, so just rushing from a different alignment.
How much of the defense benefited this year by being on the field less than they were last year?
You know what? I think that's something that's probably been overlooked. I think it's helping. You know, I mean, we're playing really good defense right now. I mean, we really are, and we have been since BYU. And not perfect by any means, but good, and they're gaining confidence. But I think that there is that element of, you know, not. You remember last year against Colorado, we had 108 plays. You know, and it gets hard. And then, you know, you saw, I think, a little bit even Saturday night and the week before against Arizona in the first half. You know, the more times you send them out there with 3 and outs on the other side, you know, they need a chance to catch their breath. You know, so but it has definitely helped us.
Coach Bradley told us yesterday he moved up to the box. How has that affected the defense?
I think it's been really good for us. He moved up for the BYU game, and it takes him away from the emotion of the sidelines. It gives him a little better vantage point. Our communication is being clear, crisp, and I think between series, you know, he's able to communicate with everybody. He's able to draw things out for himself, communicate it down to Scotty, or down to Angus, or down to Demetrius, and I think it's been very positive for us. I really do.
When you say he gets away from the emotion of the sideline, you're saying that's a good thing in this case?
A positive thing, yeah. It's if you ever put on the headphones, I mean, you'd be amazed at what goes on defense, and this is everywhere I've ever been. Offense is a little bit more calm, you know, because you have to give that guy a chance to make his calls. But everywhere I've ever been, which is, you know, been in a lot of headphones with a lot of different people, some of the stuff is just insane. It's like at times, not all the time. At times it's like insanity. To kind of remove himself from that, and then you've got, you know, the fans, and you've got people around you. To be able to remove yourself from that a little bit and go into a little more of a quiet environment, I think sometimes it helps you focus, and I think it's really helped Tom focus. He's done a tremendous job. All those guys have. So, okay.
All right, thanks, guys.